A fad diet is defined as a dietary program which promises specific health benefits such as weight loss or a longer lifespan, where realistically, the short-term attempts do not lead to long-term health returns. These diets are infamous for exponential growth in popularity due to the counterfeit benefit it promises. Moreover, these diets are either not supported with research evidence or are based off very limited studies. Most diets consist of highly limiting or unusual food choices, such as a low carbohydrate or high protein diet. Most fad diets attempt to manipulate the consumer into believing the diet is the answer to their weight loss problems. They often do this by involving a celebrity or health professional to further their claim that the diet is legitimate. The Dukan diet qualifies as a fad diet as it promises weight loss using highly unusual food selections over a 4-phase structure. Correspondingly, the diet lacks reliable sources and studies to construct the claims that it does, convincing the public through misleading conduct. Moreover, it emphasizes that the consumer can eat as much as they want and still lose weight under the condition that the foods are listed among the Dukan diet. As an example, of the 4 phases, Phase 1 is restricted to unlimited protein. Phase 2 allows dieters to add vegetables to their diet. Phase 3 combines fruit, cheese, and bread. And Phase 4 allows the dieters to eat almost anything they desire. With the highly unusual food choices that are expected to be met, limited studies, and the use of celebrities, the Dukan diet is unquestionably a fad diet.
The Dukan diet was created by Pierre Dukan when he published his weight loss solution in France in the year 2000. However, it wasn't until 2010 when the diet was introduced in the United Kingdom that popularity increased. The Dukan diet is known for its claims as a fast weight loss diet through high protein, low fat, and low carbohydrates. The diet focuses on achieving a participant's true weight, a realistic weight they can maintain for the rest of their lives. After gaining popularity, Dukan has now sold over 8 million copies of his book in 14 different languages. Over the years, it has even attracted celebrities such as Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, singer Jennifer Lopez, and various others, which further augments popular demand for the diet.
The Dukan diet claims to help individuals lose and stabilize their weight. Instead of promising to rapidly lose as much weight as possible, this diet claims that the participant will be able to reach their true weight. This high-protein, low-fat, low-carb diet begins with the attack phase, which focuses on jump-starting weight loss. With a duration of 2 to 7 days, this first phase has an expected weight loss of between 2 to 3 kilograms. The participant has a choice of 68 high-protein foods that can be consumed in addition to a compulsory 1.5 tablespoons a day of oat bran. The cruise phase is where an individual attains their true weight, allowing 3 days for every half a kilogram that they need to lose. In addition to the 68 proteins, 32 specific vegetables can be selected and the amount of oat bran is increased to 2 tablespoons per day. In the consolidation phase, the aim is no longer to lose weight, but to avoid the tendency to regain weight. Foods such as fruit and cheese that were initially forbidden can now gradually be reintroduced in small quantities, in addition to the protein, vegetables, and 2 tablespoons of oat bran. The timeline for this phase is 5 days per half a kilogram lost in the cruise phase. The final stabilization phase occurs once the diet pattern has become a routine and converts to a framework for everyday life. The individual can eat food from all food groups in addition to 3 tablespoons of oat bran. It is also required that 1 day each week has a pure protein diet from the attack phase menu. Throughout all the phases, it is necessary to be completing around 25 minutes a day of physical activity, as well as drinking a sufficient amount of water.
Day 1, attack phase. Breakfast will consist of 3 rashers of reduced fat bacon, 2 free-range eggs scrambled with half a cup of fat-free milk with a sprinkle of salt and pepper. Lunch will consist of 200 grams of baked chicken breast seasoned with salt and pepper. For dinner, there will be 200 grams of veal steak seasoned with a dash of salt and pepper. Snacks consist of 2 boiled free-range eggs, 100 grams of low-fat plain Greek yogurt, and 2 tablespoons of goji berries. 2 litres of water will be drunk throughout the day. Day 2, cruise phase. Breakfast consisted of an omelette made of 2 free-range eggs, 80 grams of chicken, a quarter cup of red capsicum, a quarter cup of carrot, half a medium tomato, and a tablespoon of olive oil. Lunch consisted of 1 cup of cauliflower rice, a small can of smoked salmon, 1/8 of a cup of bean sprouts, half a medium tomato, half a cup of spinach, a quarter of a cup of cucumber, 1 boiled egg. For dinner, the participant had a quarter cup of roast pumpkin, quarter cup of steamed broccoli, a quarter cup of steamed beans, 100 gram of beef tenderloin. Snacks consisted of 1 large peeled carrot, 40 grams of cheddar cheese cubes, and 2 litres of water were drunk throughout the day.
Both men and women are unable to maintain intake of recommended servings as per the Australian Healthy Eating Guide. This is due to strict restrictions of the diet, especially during the first 2 phases. Phase 1, attack, is firmly pure protein and therefore eating only lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, nuts, and seeds. Selection guidelines, and some milk, yogurt, and cheese. This means no fruit, vegetables, legumes, or grains are a part of the individual's diet for 2 to 7 days. Phase 2, cruise, allows for vegetables to be introduced to the diet, excluding starchy vegetables, which assist to improve vitamin intake. Phase 3, consolidation, and 4, stabilization, allow the majority of foods from all food groups, creating a greater range of options to meet the guidelines of the Australian Healthy Eating Guide, however, are still lesser than protein.
The Dukan diet, when compared to the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating, has many gaps and excesses. For instance, it is suggested by the AGTHE that individuals consume a various range of nutritious foods from each of the 5 different food groups. The Dukan diet is comprised of 100 different foods, restricting users to 32 vegetable options and 68 protein and dairy options. Individuals who have adopted the Dukan diet are restricted from consuming foods part of the grain, fruit, or discretionary food groups. In the first phase, known as the attack phase, only sources of protein are to be consumed. Therefore, users are not meeting the requirements set by the AGTHE, as they are only eating from one food group. In the second phase, the cruise phase, individuals may introduce vegetables into their diets. Therefore, users of the Dukan diet end up consuming excessive amounts of foods from the vegetables, legumes, and beans food group, as well as the lean meats and poultry food group. By not consuming a wide range of nutritious foods, individuals will experience negative health outcomes. The Dukan diet ensures users limit intake of alcohol as well as food consisting of higher levels of saturated fat, salt, and sugars, which are restricted in the first 2 phases. However, in the consolidation phase, users may consume limited amounts of previously restricted foods, such as discretionary items. Therefore, the Dukan diet severely restricts users' diets, mainly allowing them to consume foods from the protein and vegetable groups. This excessive restriction may lead to extreme adverse health outcomes and weight gain.
Participating in an intense and strict diet like the Dukan diet can often be a challenge, as it requires mental devotion to want to undertake the Dukan lifestyle. With the first 2 phases of the diet following a very strict program, the participant must be willing to give up certain foods or perhaps their entire lifestyle in order to fully commit. Within a family or social setting, this could be quite difficult, especially for example, eating dinner with a family or going to a cafe for lunch, as it could be difficult to prepare a meal suitable for the Dukan participant. In regards to physiological effects, high-protein diets like the Dukan diet raise some concerns, since animal proteins are able to increase urinary calcium and to decrease urinary citrate excretion. An increase in urinary calcium excretion is a sign of overuse of the parathyroid gland to try and increase serum calcium levels, whereas low levels of urinary citrate excretion is a risk factor for kidney stone development. Another physiological adaptation that occurs was discussed in an article by Freeman, Willis, and Krauko. With a low source of carbohydrates, the body retreats to fat as the new main source of energy. As fats are broken down, ketone bodies are produced, inducing a ketonic state. Being acid molecules, the production of ketones can possibly lead to acidosis. In support of the Dukan diet, a study by Clifton, Keogh, and Noakes concluded that high-protein diets were better predictors of weight loss, and lower carbohydrate diets were associated with a greater amount of weight loss. Even if the Dukan diet can assist in weight loss and stabilization in the short term, there are secondary physiological impacts that can possibly affect the participant in the long run.
Due to the implications of the Dukan's diet high protein content, it would be considered to be high in cost compared to plant-based diets, as the quality of protein sourced from local food industries are more costly than those of fresh vegetables and fruit. While the quality of the protein increases, so do the prices marketed in butchers, supermarkets, and grocery outlets. Due to the increase of environmentally sustainable living, products such as locally sourced, organic, free-range, and hormone-free produce are sought frequently. The customer's economic standpoint is dependent upon the quality of produce and the necessity of having a high-protein diet. For instance, grass-fed cattle have a typically lower fat content and more omega-3 acids than those who are grain-fed, as well as lower concentrations of MUFA and oleic acid. Therefore, a diet which is high in protein and low in fat, such as the Dukan diet, requires customers to purchase higher quality produce. On top of the $29.95 fee to participate in the diet, it is recommended that after the fourth and final phase of the Dukan diet, known as the stabilization phase, if clients have achieved their true weight, that they should implement the diet into their everyday lives habitually, as well as an optional non-lock-in contract weight loss coaching program, priced at $1 a week, which provides you with an awareness of food, exercise levels, and weekly instructions. Considering the financial standpoint of maintaining this diet, it wouldn't be suitable for a low or average income family due to the expensive produce needed to maintain results in the long and short-term periods. Especially if one or more members of the family are participating in the diet, cooking normal food for their children or non-participants would be required as high-protein meals are not recommended for growing children. Hence, the 2 meals are required, increasing the cost of produce further, creating an unstable family economic circumstance that cannot be financially stable and time efficient for busy parents in the short and long-term periods.
Throughout the 4 phases in the Dukan diet, various types and amounts of foods are required to be consumed by users. Specifically, in the attack phase, it would be difficult to adapt to various cultures, as only high-protein foods and oat bran is incorporated. Oat bran is one of the more prominent foods consumed within this diet, but is mainly produced by Western cultures, but is not readily available in Africa, Asia, or Middle Eastern cultures. Multiple cultures rely heavily on vegetables and fruits in their diet patterns, therefore straying from cultural customs. However, the large range of proteins required in the Dukan diet allows for easy adaptation to different cuisines. The second stage allows various vegetables to be consumed, therefore allowing adaptation across different dietary patterns. Finally, the consultation and stabilization phases allow for a larger amount of incorporation, as fruit and cheese are reintroduced. The stabilization phase is ultimately where an individual can manage the diet while still eating the foods and dishes present in their cultural dietary pattern. The Japanese culture is associated with various foods. Contradictory to Western culture, where overeating is a problem, the Japanese are taught to eat until they're 80% full. Therefore, self-discipline and restraint will come more naturally when restricting consumption of various foods in the early stages of the Dukan diet. A study conducted by Keiyo Kurotani suggested that most Japanese people follow the Japanese spin-top guidelines to healthy eating. The most prevalent food group is grains, with 5.7 servings, followed by vegetables with 5.6 servings per day. The Japanese diet is heavily based upon rice and grains, meaning a large shift in their traditional meals would need to occur if someone were to participate in the Dukan diet. However, beef, pork, chicken, and seafood are all eaten by the Japanese population, so the protein aspect could be adapted. For instance, individuals using the Dukan diet are free to consume salmon, tuna, octopus, and scallops, which are part of the Japanese cuisine. Oat bran can be incorporated into soups, crumbing of fish, and in salads, which are foods commonly eaten in the Japanese culture. The vegetarian options provided by the Dukan diet can be adapted as the Japanese culture incorporate tofu and soy products in their diet. The final stages, which incorporate vegetables and fruits, can be adapted by the Japanese, as they commonly eat foods including mushrooms, leeks, and eggplant in their diet. In conclusion, Japanese individuals wanting to attempt this fad diet would have to stray from their traditional diet slightly and adapt some food items.
Overall, the Dukan diet helps individuals achieve their true weight rather than promising a dramatic weight loss and slim figure. In comparison to the AGTHE, the Dukan diet has many gaps and excesses, therefore making it hard for men and women to obtain the required recommended number of serves from each food group. Due to the diet's strict food plan, it can become challenging on the body in order to adapt through short and long-term effects, specifically providing evidence to support short-term weight loss. Being a highly recommended diet, it is financially impractical due to the preparation of multiple meals and quality produce, which increases the economic circumstances a client could possibly be situated in. It is not recommended that individuals adopt this style of fad diet, such as the Dukan diet, as it does not meet the recommended daily intake as suggested by the AGTHE.